believe Benjamin joins us on the line from the earthquake zone. Benjamin, is that you on the line there?
Yes, it is. They wanted to create an artificial Armageddon. And their scenario, crazy as it sounds, and you can read this in Israeli newspapers, and so it's true. They want to have this scenario where they get Gog and Magog, and I forget which is which, but, Russia, China, and Iran will fight the United States and Europe, and 90% of people will die, and then they will control the other people as slaves. This is their plan, and we're trying to stop that because we think that's horrific. But there are technologies. I mean, HARP is one that's been well publicized at this point. And another is something invented by a guy called Wilhelm Reich. And what they do is they set up these kind of feedback loops of vibration. I don't know exactly how the science works, but they are able to create earthquakes with humans making the decision to do so, not some god or some celestial being. I'm a geoscientist, and I don't claim to be one. I am a journalist. And if you're a journalist, and if you write something that's not true, they're going to sue your ass off, and you're going to have to pay a lot of money. And that means that you have to do some very thorough fact-checking. Okay? Now, so I'll tell you what I know factually. I talked to someone in Pentagon military intelligence, and he told me that a gentleman by the name of Thad Allen from the Rand Corporation and 8 congressmen were in Christchurch, New Zealand, and they left 2 hours before the earthquake happened. That's the facts. I don't know anything more than that. You can speculate that it was a coincidence, or perhaps, some people say, they do have earthquake weapons. There are, government documents that have been released by the U.S. government, official documents showing that they were contemplating attacking Japan with earthquake weapons towards the end of World War II. This is U.S. government documents, declassified, okay? So when I say something, I have to prove it, and it has to hold up in a court of law. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, as good as science. But when I don't know something, I don't pretend to know. I don't know exactly scientifically how HARP works or if it works, but I know that many people in the government in responsible positions of power have told me such a thing exists and it works. Let me tell you why I got started researching earthquake weapons. I'm originally a financial journalist, and I was exposing high-level financial crimes, and I was called in by... I was exposing corruption by Japanese former finance minister Heizo Takenaka. And I got called in by some people from the Japanese Public Security Agency, and they said, because of what you wrote about David Rockefeller and these people, there's going to be an earthquake in Niigata Prefecture tomorrow. I have a tape recording of this. I put the date and who I'm talking to, and I put the recorder in front of these people because that's what you have to do as a journalist in case they sue you for libel later. You can prove you're not lying. And the next day, lo and behold, there were 2 6.8 earthquakes right exactly dead center on Japan's largest nuclear reactor, which was not in an earthquake zone. I confirmed this with Tokyo Electric Power. So then I did, and then they took me. These same people called me, and they showed me a video of a plasma ball in the air that was filmed in Niigata prior to the earthquake. And that's when I started doing the research, and I looked for public documents and evidence. And there was a lot of evidence out there. I've mentioned one. The earliest is the declassified documents about attacking Japan with earthquake weapons using some kind of nuclear-type detonation on the ocean floor and at the end of World War II. And then you have a lot of very suspicious things happening. When you talk about people predicting stuff, well, if they're going to cause it, they can predict it. For example, if you go back and look at the news and you see what happened with the tsunami in Indonesia, you'll find out that the U.S. Army already had a fleet filled with aid material waiting before the earthquake happened. Usually you have to put tents and stuff in a boat and you have to go across the ocean, but they're already there. If you were going to talk about a nuclear weapon before the first bomb was set off, all sorts of goons would come your way and try to stop you from talking about it. And that's the same thing with what they consider to be classified military technology. They don't want people to know they have an earthquake weapon, because then everyone will say, well, that's very morally wrong to go kill hundreds of thousands of people just because you want to get access to their oil or whatever it is they're after. By the way, I've heard that they want New Zealand to hand over their South Island to 1 million refugees to the United States, who are probably going to be kicked out by the Americans when they find out all the horrific things they've been doing to the American people. And the New Zealanders quite rightly said, no, we don't want you. You're a bunch of criminals, and we're not welcome here. There's an earthquake weapon attack. It's originating from an underground base in Nevada and another one in New Mexico, and it's run by George Bush Sr. and his faction, as well as, I believe, David Rockefeller. But it's all about, they don't want to give up their control of the planet. They don't want to release the free energy technology. They want to stay in power, and they say they'll destroy the planet rather than set humanity free. And the only way to stop them is to arrest their leadership. We know who they are, and they're people, in the U.S., in the military, need to go to those bases with tanks, blast open the doors, and shut down those machines. These people are criminally insane. They want to kill 90% of humanity.
Well, and I have no doubt with the technology they've got, they're going to succeed.
Not if you get their leadership. What's happening is, you see, finance at its very, very highest level is the process of deciding what we do in the future as a species. Okay, if you have a money printing machine, it's like your god. Okay, you can buy all the scholars you want and all the goons you want and all the newspapers you want, and you can control the story that everybody runs on. Like they create a theme like war on terrorism or global warming, and then they make everybody go along with it. The problem is that the people who've been doing this, okay, they believe that they're stuck in a cycle. They keep repeating these. It's like a loop. They think that they need to kill 4 to 6 billion people and have a population of only 500 million in eternal harmony with nature. And what our side is saying is that is scientific nonsense, and it's morally wrong, and what we really need to do is free up the non-dangerous parts of the 6,000 patents that have been suppressed for so-called national security reasons. And this basically means free energy and technology to extend human life.